Hey everybody, welcome to Off-the-Shelf Board Game Reviews. This week we have been looking at Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. This is a cooperative zombie survival game, tower defense style game where the players are trying to stop the hordes of zombies from invading the town center where the players lose the game. Now this video is actually part of a series of videos. This is actually going to be a sample gameplay video where I'm going to play through multiple rounds. I'm going to try to keep this around an hour. My hopes is to give you enough gameplay so you can see exactly how the game of Dawn of the Zeds plays. Now if you actually just want to see a quick overview, see a video on learning how to play the game, or actually see my review of the game, check out the other videos in the series. This is going to be a video that's going to show you completely just some gameplay right after the break. Now, before we go anywhere, I just need to give you a couple caveats to this gameplay video. Dawn of the Zeds is a really good game. It's a very well-designed game with some very good rules, but unfortunately, this is not a game that's very friendly to omni gamers. Now, what I mean by omni gamers are the type of gamers who own multiple games, and there's lots of rules and little idiosyncrasies to this game. And this honestly is not the first time I've tried to shoot this video. Every single time I try to shoot this video, I seem to make some stupid, idiotic mistake, and I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm basically just forgetting some minor, very simple rule, but I forget it multiple times, and I get frustrated, and I just close up shop, and I just give up on shooting the video for the day. So, what I'm asking for is for your help and a little forgiveness on this aspect. Now, I've played this game more than half a dozen times now. I've owned this game for about 7 months. I usually play it like once a month because it's a fun game to pull out and play. But occasionally I'm going to forget a rule. So what I'm asking for you is if I forget a rule, just leave a comment down in the YouTube comments below and I'll try to organize all the comments together and just let everybody know where I forgot a minor rule. And if you just leave a timestamp, that would be awesome. The other thing is, just for the sake of brevity, I've already created the event deck. I've already created the fate deck. I'm going to have to go in and shuffle that one more time, just have a really quick shuffle. And the other thing I did is I already picked all my heroes randomly. Now I did this really quickly because this is actually part of the strategy of the game, is picking your heroes. And it usually takes me about 5 minutes for me to make a good decision, because what I do is I grab the random heroes, then I look back and go, how are all these heroes going to work? Where are the holes and their deficiencies? What are they good at? What are they bad at? And it usually takes me a good 5 minutes to figure that out. And watching me sit here and do this for 5 minutes is boring as all get out. So I'm not going to do that on camera. So I've already picked out the heroes. The other things I have not established are things that are very quick and things that I can do very quickly on camera. But before we go anywhere on that, let's go ahead and show you the heroes I actually do have. And also I set up the game for a short game, which means we're only going to have 2 Act 1 cards. And I think it means there's 6 Act 2, 8 Act 3, and then 8 Act 4, however the breakdown is, and then the end card. So we're probably not going to get through all the event cards. The objective here is just to show you some really good gameplay. So the first hero we have is going to be Pickles. Pickles is a scavenger. He does have a movement of 6, which makes him very nice. Now his special ability is that he can scavenge, which means he gets to roll 2 scavenge dice. He can exist in the same spot with a Zed unit as long as I don't roll a 1. And the other thing is anytime a Zed unit tries to move out of the space he's in, he can actually bark, scare them, and prevent them from leaving the space. The only negatives to him is that since he's a canine, he can't shoot a gun very well. Well, he's okay. He's just not really that great of a marksman. He got 270 out of the last qual. So not great, but not bad. Okay, bad joke. Next one we got is going to be Miss Mary Hauser. I think Miss Mary Hauser is a phenomenal character. She has some really cool powers, and the things I like about her the best is the fact that she can help you on 2 different fronts. You keep her back in the town center, she can help you quite a bit by helping your ammo, but she can also be great by going out there and helping the various tracks, because she can add to the strengths of the units that are going out there and attacking. The downside to this is that sometimes I forget her special power that she can control the rate of ammo. So this may be one of those things I forget occasionally. So if I do, just leave me a nice Miss May Hauser note in the comments below that I forgot to remember about her quartermaster ability. So that's the second thing with her. The next thing we have is we're going to have Deputy Schmidt. Deputy Schmidt is a pretty easy one. Nice thing about him is he does have the toughness ability, which means that when he takes wounds, he can actually shrug them off. He is good in hand-to-hand combat. He can arrest unzeds. We don't need to worry about that because we're not playing level 3. But the cool thing about him is that he has his own initiative token, which means he can actually act every single round, even if I don't spend an action on him. Finally, we have Rusty Staub. Rusty is actually one of my favorite characters who is no way, form, shape related to anybody from a certain novel series of things that also turn into a TV show that may rhyme with Walking Dead. no relation at all. So his special abilities is that he is a survivalist. When he does a forwards action, he's going to gain 1 supply. Doesn't matter what he rolls, he's going to gain 1 supply on top of what he rolls. Additionally, he is lucky. When he makes a saving roll, he can roll 2 dice and pick the one he likes, which means there's a good chance he's not going to die. And the final thing is he uses a crossbow. So the first shot he makes every single turn does not use a piece of ammo. So you're seeing that we have some really good ammo control in this game. And then the final thing is that he is ferocious. When he gets wounded, he becomes much more accurate, but much worse in hand-to-hand combat. So that's one thing to remember. And the final thing we have is we have the Savior Core. Savior Core. The nice thing about the Savior Core is they do have the ability to heal. So this is my mobile healing force. Not only on top of that is that when we add them to the game, we're going to gain 2 free supplies just at the start, listed on the back of the card if you forget. And also, whenever we roll for using food, we're going to have +1 to a roll. That's going to be another thing that I'm probably going to forget a lot. So again, if I forget, please leave it down in the comments below and remind me that I forgot so I can add some comments there. So now that we got this stuff, we now need to start organizing how our civilians are going to be. And I'm going to do this clockwise, starting on the suburbs track. We're just going to move up, go around, and figure out which civilians are going to be in each single location. They'll come out as Defiant. The first one we are going to get is a 2 strength Defiant. Not that great, but hey, it could be worse. Next one is going to be Beauville. Beauville is going to get a strength 3. Hey, we're getting a little bit stronger. Not too terrible, not too bad. Next one we are going to do is St. Thomas, which is going to get a Defiant strength 3 civilian. It's actually pretty good. I haven't got a lot of 2s yet. Of course, I may be talking too early. Oh yeah, of course, there's the first 2. And let's hope, beyond hope, that this one ends up to be my 4 strength. I have a 1 and 3. A 1 and 3. And I shouldn't have said the word 1. Okay, we got a 2 strength there also. Okay, so let's hope we get the 4 right there, not one of the other lousy guys. I don't have high hopes. Hey, we got the 4. Cool. That means the last guy out is not one of the tough guys, so I'm actually kind of okay with that. Put it off to the side in case things change for us. Next thing we need to do is we need to put the Super Zeds in the bag here. We are just about ready to begin. The only thing I need to do is add the zombies onto the board. So, are we ready to draw some zombies? Starting clockwise. Again, I will always start with the suburbs track and go clockwise around. If I forget to announce I'm not cheating, I basically always start with suburbs. That's just how I play. First thing we got is a strength 4 zombie in the start space. Not too bad. Forest track is next. We will get strength 5 zombie. Again, not too absolutely terrible. Next up is going to be strength 6. That may affect my decisions. I was not liking that. I was trying to think of other things. And then a strength 5. So we are on the highway track. We have a 5 strength. We have a 6 strength in the mountains. We have a 5 strength over here in the forest space. And then finally in the suburbs, we have a 4 strength. We are just about ready to start. We have all of our pieces out. We are going to have all of our magic token cards out here for our reminders. Hopefully these are in a good position for everybody to see. Actually, I think I might end up putting these down below, but we'll see how this works from there. But let's go ahead and start the game with our very first event card. Of course, this is where I realized I forgot to roll for all of our resources. That's kind of funny. So let's go ahead and roll for our resources. First thing is going to be supplies. Remember, we have a +2 supplies because of the Savior Core. We will roll. Well, that could not be much worse. We will get a 3. +2 is going to be 5 supplies. So 6 minus 1 is going to be 5 on the ammo scale. Not that big a deal because we don't need ammo. The cool thing about this is you get to see how dice treat me in this game, which is one of the reasons why I pretty much only play this game once a month. Because that's how often it takes me to realize that dice really don't like me in this game. So, now let's go ahead and start with our first event card. Right from the beginning. So our very first event card, now I was thinking about doing a nice overhead cam where I'd lay this down on top of my overhead cam with the green screen and lay this down on top. But I'm thinking I'm going to do some different video editing for this one, so I'm basically just going to read these out and place them off to the side. We'll see if this works out better for me. Well, hindsight's 20/20. Maybe when I'm done recording I'll regret for my decision here, but let's see if this works out really cool. So our first card is going to be the Supply Room Discovered. We are going to get a special action during the action phase where something's going to happen at the end of the phase with the supplies. We'll worry about that when we get to that point. But the first thing we need to worry about is the 4R phase. Now, we don't have to do any of the 4Rs because we don't have any refugees, we don't have any of the rescues, we don't have any of the rangers, and we don't have any of the renegades. Wow, I almost forgot the name of the word. So we don't need to worry about any of those things at this turn. And again, if you ever forget, there's this wonderful handy dandy turn overview phase thing that comes with the game. So draw an event card, do the 4 R's, then you do the infection phase, the eat phase, the Zed phase, the action phase, then you're going to do the housekeeping phase. Well, we are done with the 4 R's. We are going to move to the infection phase. So it says that there is no infection, so we don't need to roll for that, so we don't need to worry about that at all. So let's go ahead and move to the eat phase. So we are going to roll and see if we are going to eat. If we can roll a 0 or less on a 6-sider, we are going to eat one of our resources. Well, we know it's impossible to do, so let's not worry about that. So let's go ahead and move to the Zeds phase. So the first thing that's going to happen in the Zeds phase is we are going to advance along the highway track. We only have 1 Zeds on the highway track, so let's go and advance from the start to the number 6 base. That was pretty darn easy. Next thing we're going to move to is we are going to move to the mountain phase, or the mountain track, and we are going to see what's going to advance on the mountain track. We have 1 Zeds. It's simply going to advance right there. Not a big deal, not a problem, don't need to worry about it. Now let's go to the action phase. We will get 2 actions, plus we'll get our player action, plus our initiative, plus we get our field medic stations available if we happen to need it. So this says, at the end of this phase, we're going to get +4 supplies if a player unit is in the mall district. Add a goodie token to the mall district. We will add the goodie token right there, so we do not forget about our wonderful goodies, because +4 supplies is going to be great for us, since we had a horrible roll of 3 to start things off. Couldn't have gotten much worse. I could have got a 2, but hey, you get to see how things work for me. So I have 2 actions plus my player action, so I basically have 3 actions I can do. The first thing I am going to do is I am going to use the initiative marker right here for the deputy. He is going to use his initiative, and he's going to move over here into this spot right there. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to spend 1 action, and then I'm going to spend 2 supplies. And I'm going to build a barricade. Now, I don't know if this is the best of decisions, especially this early in the game, but I'm trying to show you as much gameplay as possible so you can see the variety and different actions you can do in the game. So I'm going to build a barricade right here. That's going to be 1 action and 2 supplies. And I'm hoping this is going to make up for with my horrible, horrible decision that I've decided to do here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my other action and 2 more supplies, and I'm going to build 1 more barricade. Make sure I grab the correct one, and I'm going to build it right there. Again, maybe not the best decisions. Actually, I know it's not the best decision, but at least this way you can see a lot of gameplay variety. I still have 1 action left over for the player action, and now I need to start making some really, really, really good decisions and figure out exactly what I want to do. So foraging is always good in this game. Foraging can get you lots of supplies, and we know that we have Pickles, who is absolutely fantastic at scavenging. So I can go ahead and make up for some of the lost supplies here, but I can also send Pickles over here to the mine to make sure I get ammo. Now, ammo is not that big a criteria for me right now, because I actually have lots of ways to circumvent the spending of ammo. So that's something I need to decide. Do I want to waste the action and send Pickles all the way over here to get ammo? Or do I want to leave Pickles in town to go ahead and get some supplies, because I may end up building more barricades in the future? I think that's a better decision. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to spend my player action, and my action is going to do a forage action. So again, in case you forget, Pickles has a scavenge ability. It says roll 2 dice when conducting a forage action. And if I get doubles, I get to do them both. And if I don't get doubles, then I get the single result. Sorry, I need to learn how to speak today. But basically, if I get doubles, I get twice as good. So I am in foraging in the city center space. We look and see that if we're in the town or the town center. If we get a 4 or 5, we get 1. If I get a 6, I'm going to get 2 food, or 1 or 1. And again, I'm going to roll 2 dice. And if things are really, really in my favor, I'll roll 2 6s. I'm not holding my breath. I'm going to get a 1 and a 3. So we see that a 1 gives us nothing. We see a 3 gives us absolutely nothing. And I don't think I have the person in play that gives me a bonus to my foraging at all. Is there? I know there's one person that gives you a bonus to your foraging rolls. I don't believe I have them in play, do I? No, it's only when Rusty does it. Yeah, only when Rusty does it. Okay, so that's my action. That is the end of the turn. So the only thing left to do is we get to go to the housekeeping phase. So we will refresh this token right here. We will refresh this token right here. We know that we don't have any chaos tokens in the space, so we just need to take care of this goodie space right here. which means we remove the goodies token and we're going to gain 4 supplies, going from 1 all the way back up to 5. We're basically at ground zero in a way with our supplies, but the positive here is that we do have 2 barricades, which is going to be great when the zombies advance on the next turn, and we'll start that next turn right now. So event card number 2 of a whole bunch is going to be well-armed civilians. Ooh, it's trying to tease me. It's trying to give me a really good start to make me think I actually have a chance of winning. Trying to make me think, yeah, that's it. Well-armed civilians. This one's going to have the ability at the beginning of this phase, during the action phase, we can place the well-armed marker on one of our civilians, which is going to be this one right here, which is very, very nice. So let's go ahead and resolve this in order. So first things first, we have the 4R phase. We don't have any rangers, we don't have any renegades, we don't have any refugees, and we don't have the other R, which is drawing a blank for my brain for some reason all of a sudden, but don't worry about it. We don't have to worry about it because they're not on the board. Next thing we are going to do is see if we are going to have an infection phase. We have the word no there, so we don't need to worry about it. Next thing we see is that we have to eat. Good thing we got supplies to take care of that problem. So now let's go ahead and move to the Z phase. Wow, this Z phase is going to look very familiar to anybody who saw the last card. It's going to show something advancing on the mountain track. That's A-okay, we can handle it. But first, we're going to handle that 4 space. Nice and simple and easy, no big deal there. But now we get to go to the mountain phase. So the mountain track, we are going to advance. So the very first thing that happens is when we have a hand-to-hand, we are going to gain 1 point on the infection track. Remember, that happens anytime that we have a hand-to-hand combat, 1 point on the infection track. So let's go ahead and perform our combat here. So pulling out our handy-dandy trusty player aid, we are going to do a little math. We're going to see that 6 is 3 times better than a 2, so we are in the Zeds times 3 column. Things are not looking good for our heroes. So before we do anything, let us remove the Defiant token, because suddenly the civilians are going to go, wow, zombies really do exist. Maybe we shouldn't be dumb and hanging out here for too darn long. So normally we'd be in the oh no, we're screwed column, but since we have the barricades built up, we get to slide over to the Zeds advantage column. So let's go ahead and see if we can roll anything but a 3. And I'm not rolling those 2 dice again. Although they just rolled an 11. Oh my gosh, this just means that these ones are going to hate me. Just wait, they're going to hate me. So let's roll. Hey, we got a 10. I would like to act shocked because I actually am shocked. So we are in the Zeds advantage column because remember we got to slide 2 spaces over. We rolled a 10. So we go all the way down and we are going to see that the Zeds are going to take 2 points of damage. So we'll put the times 2 heart and we'll see that the Zeds now have to flee. So they will go back to the space they just came from. But our heroes now have to take 1 point of damage. Not too terrible, and we can actually live with that because they don't have to flip until they take that 2nd point of damage. Not too terrible, not too bad. Hey, I can actually live with that. That's not too terrible. So that's going to end that Zeds phase right there. So we're doing A-okay on that aspect. And now we get to see that we are going to get 2 actions this turn, plus our player action, plus our initiative, plus any other cool things we want to do. Now it says at the beginning of this phase, place the well-armed marker on any regular civilians unit in play. Until it ends up in the cemetery, that unit gains 1 shift in all hand-to-hand gunfire combat. Oh, hand-to-hand and gunfire combat. Where is our wonderful 4? So our wonderful 4 is now going to become well-armed. Now the cool thing about all these tokens is there's a name on one side, and on the other side it shows you exactly what that token does, which is a very nice add-on they did for this game. Very well designed. One of the things I like about this game, they took some really good effort to put in some very good handy-dandy helpers to help you remember how to play this game. So we now have our well-armed 4-strength civilians who are really good at hand-to-hand and really good at shooting. I actually like that. How can I put that to some really, really good use though? That's what I need to figure out with my 3 actions plus my initiative token. So let's go ahead and figure out exactly what we want to do this turn, looking at our supplies, looking at everything that's going on, and seeing that we actually have some really good ammo, but we need to start getting some supplies very, very quickly. And speaking of supplies, I know my first action is going to do, Rusty himself is going to spend 1 action, and he is going to check for some supplies in this area. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have the special ability to roll 2 dice, but it doesn't matter how badly I roll here, I'm going to get at least 1 supply. So we are in a town center. We look at the town center, as long as we get a 4 or higher, life is going to be decent for us. I got a 6. That's actually pretty darn awesome. Now I have some decisions. So I automatically get the supply because of Rusty Staub's special power, but now I need to figure out if I want to take a bullet or 1 more supply. I'm going to take a bullet, because you can never have enough ammo in this game. Never, ever, ever, ever have enough ammo in this game. No matter what anybody tells you, you can never have enough. I have 2 people who don't need ammo. I'm still going to need more ammo in this game. I can just feel it. So that is that. Now I have 2 actions left over plus an initiative marker to figure out what I want to do. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to spend the initiative token for the deputy, and he's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember, the space limit is 2 heroes. Villagers and refugees don't count towards the space limit, so it's okay to move the deputy there. I now have 2 actions left. I have a player action and my actual action for the card right here. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I definitely want to leave her in the town center, but I probably want to do something smart here. So now I need to make a lot of choices. It's one of the good things about this game. There's actually a lot of decisions and a lot of hard decision trees in this game. And the start of the game is a lot of anticipation as you're waiting for the pressure to build. And then once the pressure builds, then you're trying to plug all the holes. So let's see what we can do to avoid any holes forming. So I'm going to spend my first player action, and good old Rusty is going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the nuclear power plant. Again, we have a movement of 4 for Rusty. Let's see if that's going to pan out for me. Hopefully it does. And then the next thing I am thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out a way to shore up the Lucky Strike mine somehow, because these guys are not going to survive too long here. They're basically a very terrible band-aid at this point. So I'm going to spend my last action. I don't know if this is a great decision or not, but we're going to go 1 and 2, because civilians can only move 2 spaces unless something says otherwise, and there's no something saying otherwise at this point. So that is the end of the action phase. Let's go ahead and do the refresh phase. We'll refresh that. Refresh that. We do not have any chaos markers to worry about, so let's go and pull that off the board. That's it for that turn. Let's go ahead and move on to the next turn, which should be the start of act number 2. Ranger Scout team deploys. Well. So they're actually going to appear in the action phase, which means that from now on, after this card, the 4R phase is going to be a little bit more eventful than in the past. So for the 4R phase, we do not have any Rangers yet. We do not have any rescuers. That's the word I was forgetting for the National Guard, is for the rescuers. We don't have any refugees, and we don't have any of the horrible renegade people to worry about. So let's not worry about them at all. So we're not going to have a 4R phase. We are going to have an infection phase. Now, normally we'd roll 2 dice, but it's impossible to roll a 1 on 2 dice, so we can skip that. Let's go to the eat phase. We will eat 1 supply, and now let's go ahead and move to the Zed phase. So for the Zed phase, we're going to have some movement in the mountain track and then in the highway track. So let's go ahead and hit the mountain track first. We will move up 1 space on the mountain track. 1 on the infection track, and then what is our strength here? Still 6, still versus 2. So it looks like it's the exact same thing as before. We'll pull out our handy dandy hand-to-hand combat track. We normally would be at the 3 column. We're going to shift 2 spaces over to the Zed's advantage, and let's hope we can roll decently. That is not decently. That is the exact opposite of decently. So we rolled a 4. So we see that we are going to take 3 points of damage, and we also have to retreat. And we're not going to do any damage to the Zeds at all. So our first point of damage will flip us over. Our second point of damage, and then our third point of damage is going to send us to the hospital. Now remember, every time we send a unit to the hospital, if we check down here on the infection track, we will see right here where it says hospital save. If I successfully save, we're going to add 1 to the infection. So let's go ahead and roll. We will get a 1. I guess I don't need to worry about it. They're actually just going to go over to the cemetery and just go push up some daisies. That's much, much better for them. So this zombie is going to move into this space. The defiant villagers are going to turn into fleeing refugees, and they are immediately going to run away from the spot. We don't have to worry about any more damage taken to those zombies at all, since we don't do any damage to them at all, and we get to see how my wonderful dice like to happen not in my favor. Okay, so next is going to be movement on the highway track. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Highway track, we are going to move up, and it's not a 3-to-1, it is now going to be a 2-to-1. So we will go up on the infection track right there for our wonderful little encounter there. We are going to be at the 2 times for the Zeds, but since we have the barricade, we're going to slide over to the equal column. And let's see if we can roll anything but a 4. I'll roll a 3 just for comedy value. Hey, I'll roll a 10. I need to complain more often. The dice actually work better for me when I complain. So the equal to column, we go all the way down to the 10, which is what we rolled, and we're going to do 3 and 1. So 3 points of damage is enough to flip the Zeds over, and they will retreat back to the space they just came from. We will see that these defiant people are no longer being defiant because they realize that, hey, zombies are real. Maybe we shouldn't be defiant anymore. But they will take 1 point of damage, and that's going to be it for a combat right there. So not too terrible, not too bad. That is it for all the movements on those 2 tracks. It's actually been a nice, very sedate beginning, which makes me think that things are going to get very bad very, very quickly. That's it for the Zeds phase. Let's go ahead and move to our action phase, where we are going to get 2 actions for this turn, plus our special player actions and our initiative marker. So for a hero phase, I need to figure out exactly what I want to do for every one of our heroes and see exactly what we want to do, because we actually have a lot of options. And the game is starting off nice and friendly and easy, which is something I never ever like, because I feel like I have a lot of options and I got to sit there and deliberate and figure out exactly which one's going to be the best option, because I know the game's just about ready to kick me in the teeth, because that's just how it likes to work. So the Ranger Scout team deploys. At the beginning of this phase, make a fate draw. Place the Specialist Civilians Rangers unit on the fated track start space and gain +4 ammo. So our fate draw is going to be, oh, of course it had to be. Okay, where? Player's choice. That's a good thing. So we're going to do player's choice to land the Rangers on the board. Where did I put the Rangers at? They are right there. Let's go ahead and, I want to do that. Decisions. So you cannot shoot into or out of from a start space. So I want a start space where I can actually do some things without being horribly hating life. So I'm actually going to place them right there. That's actually pretty good. So, and I don't do the play the card part yet. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to get +4 ammo. So we're going to go from 6 to 10. Hey, life is good right there. Rangers can move 1 space for our phase and up to 3 spaces per move action. They get +1 combat shift in hand-to-hand combat and can make long-range rifle gunfire attacks at -1 to our hit. Of course, we can't do that from there, but hey, that's not too big of a deal. We can figure out ways to work around that. Well, let's go ahead and look at the rest of this, which is cooked books, which is the part that is just absolutely terrible with what I just got. Anyways, Farmingdale's comptroller, John Strangle the Jerk, I added that part, discovered resources are missing. Roll for supplies and then for ammo to see how much of each we are going to lose. So this is for supplies. We will lose 1 point of supplies. Now roll for ammo. Hey, 2 points of ammo. Jerk. I mean that in the nicest way. You know, normally when I play this game by myself, I actually use 4-letter words that are not camera friendly, just because this game makes me do it. Anyways, boy. Okay, we're done with that one. That's that fate card done, being its horribleness and making my life as miserable as possible. So, back on to the rest of the action phase. I have 2 actions plus a player action plus initiative. Well, I know what I'm doing for the initiative. I'm going to spend 1 action on my initiative action, plus I'm going to spend 2 supplies, and we are going to build another barricade right here. And that is it. Then the next thing we are going to do is our good old trusty dog is going to hunt for some supplies in the town center. Now the town center means that, oh no, actually I want to be on the farm, don't I? I want to be on the farm, darn it. So maybe I should have Rusty. He's at the nuclear plant. If he's at the nuclear plant, what can he get at the nuclear plant? That's not going to be a good decision. Mine and security. So nuclear plant is not a good place to look for supplies, because the only thing you find there is radiation. So I may have put myself in a little bit of a pickle here. Or a little bit of a pickles, pun intended. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for pickles. We are going to do a scavenge event with pickles, and we need supplies before we start having lots of problems with supplies. I need, at least one of these needs to be a 4. Oh, that is good. So we rolled a 6. We're not at a farm, but if I'm at a town or a town center, I can pick up 1 supply or 1 ammo. I am obviously going to pick up 1 supply for that. So that's pretty darn good. now I need to hopefully play smart. That's enough for me to survive a little bit longer. I have 2 actions left. First action I'm going to do is spend that action to move my rangers up 1 space like this. And then I'm going to hope beyond hope that things are going to work out in my favor, because my final action is my rangers are going to shoot at these Zeds. And hopefully we can kill these Zeds and destroy them, and things are going to work out in our favor. So pulling out our handy dandy shooting shard right here, we see that we are on the column for the 5. As long as I roll a really high number, it's actually impossible. Actually, no, if I roll a 12, not gonna happen. But I got an 8, not too bad. So we go over here on the 8, we go on the 5 column, 8, that's gonna be 3 points of damage. So 1 point of damage will flip this over. 2 points of damage, 3 points of damage. So that actually was pretty darn decent. Could have been a lot worse. It's not exactly what I want to do. I was hoping I could kill those darn zombies before they devour my fleeing people here. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be quite that lucky. Maybe I should not have went for the supplies. But hindsight's 20/20. So at the end of our turn, we are going to refresh all of our used resources. We are not having any heroes in any chaos spaces, so we're okay on that aspect. This card is done. I'm just going to leave it out so I don't forget about the Ranger special powers. Actually, I should be fine. I remember most of them. If I forget, then you guys just leave comments down in the comments down below and remind me to be more honest next time. That is it. We are done with the refresh or the housekeeping phase. Let's go back to drawing our next event card. Act number 2. Oh, gosh. So, we have a 4R phase. This is probably a good time to have our 4R phase. Now the nice thing about the 4R phase is, remember, the 4R phase has to happen in a very, very specific order. So the first thing that's going to happen for the 4R phase is the Raiders going to activate. We don't have any Raiders out there, but we do have Rangers. Now the Rangers are on the board. Now I could move the Rangers over here to attack these guys, but the problem with doing that is the infection level is going to go up. I don't think that's a good idea. So I'm actually not going to move my Rangers all. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move the refugees. These fleeing refugees are going to move 1 space, which should protect me from mountain. Yeah, I'm safe. So that'll protect me, so they will move 1 space back. So I should be A-okay on that one. And I don't have any National Guard on the board, so I don't need to worry about that at all yet. But now the fun part comes. Now we get to roll for the infection. Our infection level is currently at 3, so as long as I roll a 3 or less, we won't have to worry about too much. I got a 5. Things are perfectly fine. No infection. Let's go ahead and move over to the eat phase. No refugees, nobody in the hospital. I can't roll a 0 or less, so let's go ahead and skip that, and let's go ahead and move directly to the Zeds phase, where it says pain and agony, agony and pain. This game is going to make your life much more difficult. At the beginning of this phase, make a fate draw. Place a new Zeds unit on the start space of the fated track. During this turn, for each regular civilians unit eliminated or sent to the hospital after its saving roll, place a new Zeds unit on the space where it was killed. Apply the stacking limit if necessary. This card is so much fun. So much fun. So let's do our fate draw. At the beginning of this phase, make a fate draw. It is where? Suburbs. Lovely. So we will add a Zed supermob to the suburb. So that 4 plus the 3 is going to be a 7. That makes life extra fun. And then it says designate each chaos space in turn and draw a new Zeds unit, comparing its full strength value to the space's number. If its strength is less than the space's number, place the Zeds unit on that space, otherwise return to the Zeds cup before drawing from the next chaos space. So this space's number is number 5. So if the strength is less than, so if I draw a 4 strength Zed or less, it's going to stay. If it's 5 or higher, it goes back to the bag. So it's a 5. So 5 or higher goes back to the bed, right. Let's see here. Full strength values, if its strength is less than the space number, then place unit on space. Yep, goes right back to the bad. We're lucky. And just so you know, I got a 5. I'm not cheating. So that actually was not as terrible as it could have been. But let's go ahead and finish the rest of this here. It says, during this turn, for each regular civilians unit eliminated or sent to the hospital, life is going to get much more miserable for you. But let's go ahead and start with the highway space. where we can send somebody to the hospital. So these Zeds are going to move up. So the first thing that happens is the infection level is going to go up. We have a 2 to a 3. Bringing out our handy dandy guide right here, we see that means that the Zeds have advantage. But we're going to shift 2 columns to the right because we have the barricade. So we're going to go from Zeds advantage to human advantage. So as long as I roll an 8 or higher, life will be wonderful. 8 or higher. Well, that's going to be impossible. That's a 4. So human advantage on column 4. That means the Zeds are going to take 1 point of damage. And that means the humans are going to take 3 points of damage. So 1 point of damage is going to flip us. 2 points of damage, and you guessed it, 3rd point of damage means that we are going to be slaughtered, killed, and we need to make a survival roll. But again, we have that nice quickening card to make life extra wonderful. So before we do all that fun stuff, let me finish this out by making these defiant villagers into refugees, and they are going to run away, and the space is now Zed controlled. And we are now going to add a chaos marker to that space. Oh, happy, happy, joy, joy. Let's go and make that survival roll. What's the change on though? Let's see here. During this turn, for each regular civilian's unit eliminated or sent to the hospital after a saving roll, place a new Zed unit on the space where it was killed. So we got places Zeds no matter what. Life is going to be awesome. So we're going to roll a 2, which means we failed our survival roll because, you know, hey, might as well just stick with the way things have been going so far. I know I'm griping, but I'm having fun. This game is just so brutal. That's one of the best things about the game. It's one of those brutal games that's just super duper challenging. That's going to be an 8 strength Zed, which is going to add to the strength 3 there. So we now have an 11 strength Zeds mob right there in that wonderful, wonderful space. And that was just the first activation. I still have 2 activations to go. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is getting fun. So we now get to move to the second track that's going to activate, forest space. And then the forest space is going to activate one more time, which means we are going to get an encounter. Now I have a couple options here. First of all, defiance is going to go away after the deputy has shouted at these people 1,000 times, "You need to run!" Now they're actually going to believe it when the zombies show up banging down on the front door. So the zombie's going to show up at the door. So now I need to figure out, are the zombies going to attack the civilians or are they going to attack the deputy? Now the good thing about them attacking the deputy is the deputy does have the toughness power. The problem is I don't want the deputy taking damage yet. I want him alive so I can shoot these guys. But I want to win this fight. So we are going to have these zombies attack these civilians right here. So bringing out our handy dandy combat chart right here, we see that it's not quite doubled, so it's going to be Zed's advantage. But we're going to get 2 column shifts over for human advantage because we have the barricades. So as long as I roll a 5 or higher, my turn will go the way I want it to go this turn. Wow. Boy, 5. So we rolled a 5 on the human advantage, which means 2 points of damage, 2 points of damage. So the Zeds are going to take 2 points of damage and they are going to get repelled. Our civilians are going to take 1 point of damage, and then the second point of damage is going to flip them over to their other damage side. Not that good. Let's make sure we advance our infection track for having a hand-to-hand combat there. That was both of the advances on the forest track, so that is it. Now we get to go to the hero phase where we get 3 actions. And boy, oh boy, am I going to need every one of these actions and then some to see if I can survive this round somehow, some way, with just a little bit of luck. So, options. So we see that there's 3 fronts that I need to stop the zombies on. Unfortunately, I don't have enough actions to do so, so I need to prioritize my fronts that I need to protect. And I need to do that prioritization very, very quickly. So the first thing I know I want to do is I want to get rid of these zombies. They're close to being dead, and I have the best chance at getting rid of them. So I am simply going to spend 1 action for my rangers, and we know that they are 5. We'll pull out the handy dandy chart to see exactly what that means, and that just means that as long as I don't roll snake eyes, they're going to die. So I spent my action. Okay, I can't get snake eyes. There's 10. That is going to be, just for completeness sake, that is going to be 3 points of damage to the zombies. We have shot the zombies. These zombies are dead, but that does cost us 1 point of ammo, except, let's see if, no, it's not going to cost a point of ammo, because we are going to use Miss Mary Hauser's special ability, which prevents us from having to spend ammo. Now, if you forget her special ability, it says specifically, Thrifty Quartermaster. While she is in a town space, which she currently is, you receive a saving roll for each ammo you lose or spend for any reason. On a roll of 5 or 6, that ammo is not lost and or not spent. So we did not spend that, so that is good. So that just cost us 1 action. So that is pretty darn awesome. That's why I'm keeping her back and not doing anything else with her yet. Next thing we have now is another decision. I could move them because they're going to get devoured if I don't. But I need to get rid of those zombies. So let us use our initiative marker right here. And we will shoot those zombies right there. Pulling out our handy dandy combat chart right here. We are on the 4 strength column. So let's see if we can roll really good. We will get a 10. So on the 4 column, we see a 10 is going to be 3 points of damage. So the first point of damage, we'll flip it over. The second point of damage, and then the third point of damage means that they are just ever so close to being defeated. Let me roll to see if the ammo is going to be wasted. Ammo is not wasted. Yes, that is good. So I still have 3 actions left, including my player action. If I kill those zombies, yeah, I think I'm just going to go for it. So we're going to spend a 1 action to see if we just take out the zombies. 8, that's going to do it in case you forget. 4, 8 is going to be 2 points of damage, more than enough to take out those zombies. They will be removed, and let's see if we are going to use up the ammo. And we will use up the ammo that time, so that's not a big problem. I'm actually A-okay with that because that actually allowed us to clear out 2 tracks. Now I have 2 other tracks that are going to be a problem. I need to figure out exactly what I want to do here. I don't want Rusty to sacrifice himself because I just D-U-M-B dumb. I don't know what that next event card can be. It could be very good or it could be very bad. You just never know in this game. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very risky maneuver, and I'm going to pray we're not going to get a double highway activation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 action to move my rangers into this spot, which is going to use my action token. Then I'm going to use my other player action token to go ahead and have these fleeing refugees go to the power plant with Rusty Stub. Now, I could have hoped for a good 4R, but I don't want to take any chances, and I don't want 2 more points on the infection track. That does use up all of our actions, and unfortunately, I did not get to forge for supplies this turn, which is not good, because if we don't have supplies, that means our heroes are going to start taking damage to compensate for that. So I definitely want to be smart on what I'm doing there, and I'm almost regretting moving these guys here. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I didn't know the Rangers were coming, though, so hindsight is 20/20. So we are done with all our actions. So now we get to go to the refresh phase, or the housekeeping phase as they call it. So the first thing that's going to happen is we are going to remove 1 chaos token, which means the infection rate is going to go up 1 point. Or wait, are they the ones who don't have infection rate? Hold on, let me read really quick. Long range, gunfire attack, you get +1 every hand to hand. Use a military unit. Nope, they're not the ones. I know there's one that can get rid of infection or chaos without a problem. Not them, though. So we are done with that. We are going to refresh our spent actions. So our spent actions are going to be refreshed. We don't have any other housekeeping actions to take during this turn. So we are done with the housekeeping. Now time to go to the next round. Okie dokie. So next event card is going to be Highway Night Assault. Of course, it would have to be. I literally said, as long as we don't get a card that has 2 highway movements. It's literally the card I drew. Of all the cards. Yeah, of all the cards I could have drawn. So first things first is we are going to get the 4R phase. I am going to move them because they are the most at risk when Rusty Stobbs is about to get his butt kicked here very quickly. Next thing we are going to do is we need to roll for the infection phase right now. So if I roll a 6 or less, we are going to have an outbreak. There is a 5. So we will bring the track down 5 points. So it's going to go from a 6 all the way down to 1. And hooray, 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 we get our very first infection rate of the game. So first things first, let's draw our fate card to see where life is about to get very entertaining for our heroes. It's comical now. Guess where? Highway. So we are going to have a spawn. First things first, we are going to look for a chaos space on the highway track. We don't have a chaos space on the highway track. So the next thing we need to look for is we need to look for a village on the highway track. We do have a village, but unfortunately that village space is currently occupied. So that means we cannot spawn in there. That means it's going to bump back a little bit. But before we do that, let's go ahead and draw and see exactly which kind of super duper fun creature we get to enjoy on the track today. So let's go ahead and see what kind of fun we are going to draw out of the bag today. So we are going to draw a 6-strength Zed. Now, this is one of the things that's kind of persnickety about the game, and like I mentioned, this is one of those games that's going to be great for the non-Omni gamers. The gamers who are going to play one game a lot of times so they can learn the little idiosyncrasies of the rules. Now, if I remember correctly from the rules, since this is a spawn, not a retreat, the spawn zombie can't go in that space and it's going to move back. If this had been a retreating zombie, it would force a 3-strength zombie back and would take that spot. But if I remember correctly, without wasting time and pulling out the rule book, I do believe since it's a spawning zombie, instead of it pushing back, it's going to be pushed back itself to the next space. If I'm wrong, go ahead and leave comments down, YouTube comments down below, but I'm pretty sure it's only when you retreat you push back. If it's a spawn, the spawning unit is the one that has to go back on the track. Anyways, next up, we are going to see what's going to happen for the rest of the card. Oh, this is actually a hold for later card. It's not going to be as brutal as I thought. That was pretty brutal. Because all those wonderful zombies are going to advance. Oh, I hate you, zombies. Okay, play during the action phase to place a new available hero unit of your choice in any above ground start space. Oh, I am so going to need to use that one so darn quickly. And I think I might even take... Oh, that's going to be a tough one. We have lost so many civilians. I wonder... Yeah, I'll figure that out later. I'm not going to waste time debating on that one because I can sit here and deliberate for the next couple hours trying to figure out what is going to be the exactly next best thing to do here. So, we just did our infection phase. Our infection phase is done for the turn. Now we get to move to the eat phase, where we are going to eat one more supply. Wow, we are just being supply starved in this game. So now we get to move to the Zeds phase. So at the beginning of this phase, we are going to get +1 infection per Zeds unit on the highway track. Well, that would be 3. So we're going to go from 1 all the way back up to 4, because, you know, fun. Next thing we're going to do is place a new Zeds unit on the highway track start space. It's comedy now. It's pure comedy. Comedy gold. Oh, hey, at least it's only a 4-strength one. It could have been worse. Could have been. Now the pain starts. Defending units receive no terrain shifts this phase. So, first things first, is these zombies are going to move up to this space, and this barricade will be destroyed. We'll remove it because that is a goodbye event. And this chaos marker stays here. This zombie moves up, and this zombie moves up. Oh, wait, we got one more activation on the highway track. So let's go ahead and let the pain start for poor old rusty stub. Faction track is going to go up by 1. We are at 11 to 4. Thankfully, doing maths, we see that it's only going to be a 2 advantage for the zombies, but still going to be more than enough to cause a lot of pain for us. And unfortunately, according to this card, we do not get any shifts for our defense, right? Yep, no terrain shifts at all. Let's see if Rusty Stub has any special combat abilities. Saving rolls are good. 4 hours action, don't need to worry about that. For each time he receives a hit, we get to see if we can avoid hits. So that's kind of nice. And when I get injured, my hand-to-hand increases to 5, and gunfire goes down to 2. So we don't want to be wounded too bad. That is just about to happen right now. So we see that we got 11 to 4, so that is going to be Zeds times 2 column. Let's see if Rusty's about to get his butt kicked here. Wow. That number 4 looks familiar. So we are going to take 4 hits and we are going to have to flee. So we know we're going to flee without doing any damage at all to the Zeds. So let's go ahead and flee and see if we can survive this at all. So this is going to be 4 hits. So I'm going to roll 4 dice. For every 5 or 6, I get to reduce the damage by 1. The good news is I need 3 5s or 6s to survive. We know that's not going to happen, but let's go and roll anyways. So we only take 3 points of damage. Unfortunately, that's enough to take Rusty Stubs out. Because the first point of damage flips him over. The second point of damage is going to send him over to Farmingdale Hospital. So, I forget, did I advance this? I think I did. But we may have to advance that one more time. But luckily, Rusty has the ability to roll 2 dice for a survival check. I will happily take that 6. So Rusty Stubs is going to go to the hospital. He is going to get his EKG marker put on him for the wonderful amount of damage that they did. And since we made a survival roll, guess what? The infection track goes up by 1. And you guessed it, we get to add some more chaos onto the space there. Oh, and then the rest of the zombies also get to advance for the rest of that advancement on that track. Oh, joy. So as I said before, things escalate very, very quickly in this game, which is one of the unique challenges of this game. This is definitely not a zombie-side or friendly style game, which is very comical in the zombie encounters. This is very much a Romero-inspired themed game, very, very much in its theme, its play, and just how brutal it can be at times. Especially when we look and see that we only get 1 action. 1 action, and I need supplies so badly, especially the way we've been eating through supplies like there is absolutely no tomorrow. And I also need to heal Rusty, and I also need to do this, and I need to do that. And I do believe the heal action even costs us supplies to use, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1 supply to perform 1 heal action. Yep, that's going to cost us supplies to do that too. So we need supplies badly. So our first action is going to send old Pickles, who's got to move in a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to go to the farm, and he's going to make sure that old Timmy didn't fall down the well again. 5. That is not what we wanted, is it? A 5, I believe, is going to be 1 food on the farm. That's right. You need a 6 on the farm just to get 2 food. I shouldn't even have moved him. That was actually dumb of me. I was thinking it was a 5 or 6. That was really dumb. I forgot it's a 5 or it's a 6, not a 5 or 6. So we spent 2 actions to get 1 food. I would have been better off just to stay in town center. Okay, that didn't pan out. I'm out of actions. So, they're in a village. They're in a village, so maybe we can do something worthwhile in a village to see if we can get some kind of supplies. So you got a 4 better? Yeah, I'm going to use this initiative marker, and we are going to hope for 4 better. Got a 6. That's a bullet. Oh, damn it, that's not what at the time I need a bullet. Oh, hey, I got more ammo, just what I don't need. I'm going to use my field medic ability. I'm going to spend that. I'm going to spend 1 supply to remove the EKG marker from Rusty Stub, so Rusty Stub is not dying anymore. And I'm out of actions. I'm out of actions. I'm out of things to do. I am out of a lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and refresh everything we got here, except for the fact, before I forget, the infection goes down 1 level because I did do a heal action. We have no... Ooh, we don't have a prayer. Well, we do. Okay, so this card is over. We are done with this card, and we are done. Next event card for the next round here. Hey, you got to be kidding. Quite literally, you got to be kidding. So, you got to be kidding is going to be a 4R. So, we are going to move 1, and we're going to move 1. And then, actually, I should have moved my Rangers before that, so I kind of cheated on that one. Maybe. So technically I should have moved the Rangers before the refugees if I was going to move them. And I think... No, I'm not going to move them. I'm going to keep this spot protected. At least for now. I mean, it's not a bad decision. Although I do have this card right here. It says play during the action phase. I may be able to get a hero by doing that, which may not be a bad idea. I may want to get somebody on the highway track as quick as possible. So I did my 4R. So we did our Rangers not going to move. Our refugees each moved. I moved 2 refugees. We are not going to have an infection phase. We do need to roll for the eat. And we do have somebody in the hospital. So if I roll a 1... Luckily I didn't, so I don't need to worry about that. So now we get to move to the Zeds phase, and that says all Zeds are going to move. At the beginning of this phase, place a new Zeds unit on the start space of every single track. Well, luckily, stacking limit's going to apply there, which is going to bump them to the next track over here. And then we're going to draw for that track, which will be a nice, wonderful amount of painful fun. And then we will get to this track over here. And then, hey, the highway track, which is burning the highway to hell over here, with all due respect to AC/DC. And on the start space of every track, apply the stacking limit necessary. Remove all hit markers from Zed units. Okay. And then we're going to get a Zed rush. Luckily, we don't need to do that. And now all the tracks are going to activate. Every single track is going to activate. So let's do what we always do. Let's start over here with the suburbs. Suburbs are going to advance. And then we are going to move over here to the forest track. And then we are going to move over here to the mountain track. And then we're going to move over to the highway to hell. They're going to advance. This is going to advance, this is going to advance, and then this is going to advance. And now we get to our action phase where we get a whole 1 action. That card is so very aptly named. You got to be kidding me, because you really got to be kidding me. I am starting to think that things are looking excessively bleak at this point. Rusty Stubbs, you... Boy. Yeah, this is looking extremely bleak. Can you fire from 2 spaces away? I forget if you have that ability. Can you fire 2 spaces away? No, that's Stubbs who can fire 2 spaces away, right? Or you have the one with long range? Nope. Who has long range? I thought I had a character with long range. Okay, so, boy, oh boy, I could use the pistol top shot, but it only gives her 4 to shoot. That's not that great. So, I have no supplies. I do have 1 supply. I actually have 1 supply. So we have not healed this round. We healed last round. And I also have this. I'm going to have to use that. We're going to have to bring a hero out there. Somebody who does not add corruption, but somebody who can do some good things. El Toro Loco, he's got the bullet charge. That could be good with his bullet charge. Captain Piazza could be good. But not in this case. Mr. Johnson could be good. Mr. Johnson would give us the supplies I so desperately need. Oh my gosh, so many choices. So many horrible choices. Do I just go for the supplies because I am that darn desperate? And just bring out Mr. Johnson and actually do nothing with him because I'm that desperate? Am I really that desperate? I might actually be that desperate right now. There are no good decisions in this game. Okay, we are going to make a decision here. I am going to bring out Mr. Johnson as a desperation move. We'll add Mr. Johnson, and we are going to add Mr. Johnson to the track down. I think I'm going to add him to the mountain track, because if I can get him to the mine, then he can do some... Well, I don't need ammo. I don't need ammo. Don't put myself in that position. He does have the ability to shoot decently, right? Yes, his gunfire attacks take 2 shifts, so I'm going to put him on the highway, which is a good thing. So once he enters play, we gain 2 supplies, and then we are going to gain 3 ammo. So we're going to go from 8 all the way up to 11 ammo. Not that ammo is going to be our problem right now. So we have spent that card. We have 2 actions plus our initiative plus our medics. So our medics are going to spend 1 supply and our first aid action to flip Rusty over to his fully healed side, which is going to bring the corruption down by 1 point. As our free action, we are going to pull him out of the hospital and get him back on his feet again. And then I am going to... See, I need to think here. I really need to think here. This is just getting very, very desperate times lead to desperate measures here. So this track is going to doom us if I don't do something. So the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to spend 1 action, and these are going to move 1, 2 into town center. Then I'm going to spend my player action, and I'm going to put them right there. Hopefully that's going to be enough to at least push this back, and at least I can do some healing. So it's going to be maybe a little bit of a wall, just for a little bit of something. Okay, I've used up all my actions. You have an initiative action. I think I should have you go for supplies. That'd be the smart thing to do. But is it really a smart thing to do? Could shoot at you, which is not going to really help me in any way, shape, or form at this point. You're going to advance on those guys. There's nothing I can do to help those people. I need to protect this point right here, right now, very, very quickly. Not going to move. I don't want to just go for supplies. That seems like such a wasted turn. I am going to use Rusty's ability to forage, and I'm going to forage with him in a town center. I at least get 1 supply. So I'll roll a 5. Since I'm in a town center, that's going to be 1 supply plus 1 more from his ability, puts us up to 4 supplies. So really stable on supplies. Oh, I can't do that. Because I have his initiative action. Sorry, I was using his initiative action. So I still got the 5, so it's still 1 supply. We are done. I am out of actions. There is not much else I can do except for just try to survive the next event. So we will go ahead and do the housekeeping phase. We will refresh all these tokens right here, and we will get ready for the next round. And hopefully it is not too exceptionally brutal on us. Okay, let's see how the brutality is going to be. Let us draw on the... Oh, boy. Forest Night Assault. Hey, you know what? That's actually not too terrible. I think we may actually survive for another round at least here. So we have the 4R phase, so we do have 2 refugees. So Refugee 1 and Refugee 2. Actually, before I do that, do I want to move these guys? I could move over there. No, I'm not going to do that. So they're just going to have the refugees move. Just want to make sure I am playing fair and playing by the rules. So now we are going to move to the infection phase. We're not going to have an infection. That's good. Now we get to roll for an eating. So I can't roll a 0, but I'll roll anyway just for grins because it makes me feel better to win something. Now we're going to move to the Zeds. At the beginning of this phase, add +1 infection per Zeds unit on the forest track. That's going to be 2. That's going to move us from a 4 all the way up to a 6. Place a new Zeds unit on the forest track start space. Sure, why not? Why the heck not? Hey, it's only a 4. Only a 4. That's good. Okay, defending units receive no terrain shifts this phase at all. Well. Advance and advance. That's going to end the Zeds phase, and now we got to start our turn with 2 actions and a whole bunch of hope things go in our favor. So the very first thing we are going to do is we're going to spend this initiative token right here. We are going to flip the initiative token over, and we are going to do some shooting. We are going to shoot at these zombies right here. First things first, are we going to waste ammo? We are going to waste ammo. So that puts us back down to 10. Now let's see what we can do to shoot. We are going to roll absolutely abysmally. So he's got 4. Pulling down our handy dandy chart, we see that if we roll a 6 on this chart, that means we're going to do a whole 1 point of damage. Wow. Well, that just is terrible. That was just absolutely abysmally terrible. see. Let me remember what Miss May Hauser. I don't want to screw this up. Receive a save roll for all ammo as long as she's in a town space. So any town space, we're safe. You stack with including those in town center. Receive a +1 strength in hand-to-hand combat. That could be really, really good for that. Pistol top shot. You know what? If I move her right there, that's going to give these guys a +1. That's going to put them at a 5 strength. Plus, they're going to get their combat shift from having their special ability. So I think that might be the smartest thing for me to do right here, right now, at least the way things stand so far. And again, right now, we are just trying to stop the horrible, horrible flow of problems coming our way. Town space, make sure it's not town center. I don't want to cheat. So we're going to spend 1 action, and she is going to move right here to this location right here. I'm hoping that is not a bad decision on my part. I don't like this track at all. I have actually have 2 actions left. First action is we are going to have him try to shoot again. So let's see if we're going to waste the ammo. We are going to waste the ammo. Now let's see if we can at least roll decently. Pulling out our handy dandy chart for rolling a 4 shows that we are going to do 0 damage. He's a deputy. He's a well-trained deputy who has been practicing at the range at least once every 5 years. 1 more action. This is brutal. This is the only way I'm going to be able to survive that onslaught. Roll for the ammo. Hey, the ammo's not going to be wasted. Now let's see if we can actually do some damn damage. Yes, finally. So looking at our handy dandy chart, on the number 4, we scroll all the way down to 11, and that's going to be 3 points of damage. So we're going to do 1 point of damage. 2 points of damage is going to flip this thing over like that, and then this will be the 3rd point of damage, and I'm actually way A-okay with that. That actually looks pretty darn decent. That took this down from a 9 all the way down to a 7, which means the odds are much more in our favor. Unfortunately, I'm out of actions, and I have nobody to heal, and I really have nothing else I can do at this point. Let's go ahead and do some refreshing, and let's go ahead and do the housekeeping, and let's see if things are going to be just as nasty on the next event. Let's go ahead and reveal the next event card quickly. Utter chaos, which describes how this game is going. So first things first is we have the 4R phase. Are we going to move the rescuers? Do I want to move the rescuers at this point? Or the rangers? I don't want to move the rangers. They're good defending right there. At least they have the 2 column shifts. That's the best thing I can do right now at this point. So we do have to remove some refugees though, which means we are going to gain some infection, because when a refugee makes it to town, we gain +1 on the infection rate. But the good thing is that means that we can start bringing back some people if we really need to. So we're going to do, this guy is going to move in here, which means he's going to move into the refugee camp. So I got to remember the equip refugee action. And these are both, let's see, is that a 2? And that is also, yeah, that's also a 2. Okay, next up is going to be rolling for the infection. So we're currently at 6, and we are going to roll a 7. No infection. We are going to eat 1 supply. And now we're going to see a lot of movement really quick. So this one is going to have a forest track, a suburbs track, and a mountain track. But first, at the beginning of this phase, we have a Zeds pressure. Luckily, we're playing a solo game, so don't need to worry about it. Each namespace that becomes Zeds controlled this turn receives 2 chaos markers instead of 1. Wow. You can remove only 1 per turn as usual during the housekeeping phase. So let's go ahead and start first with the forest track, because the forest track is going to advance. So we will advance the forest track, and we will gain 1 more on the infection level. And let's go ahead and figure out how we want to do this. So we can do 7 versus 2, or we can do 7 versus 4. I really don't want to do 7 versus 4, but I don't see a better idea. So we are going to do the 7 versus 4 with Mr. Deputy right here, which means we are going to do 1 point in the zombie's favor. So we'd be at Zeds advantage, but we're going to shift 2 spots over to human advantage right there, and then we are going to roll on the human advantage table and see if we can get something good. Oh, dear Lord. We roll a 3. Human advantage means 1 point of damage to the zombies. Oh boy, I'm sure they're really absolutely totally terribly terrified about that. But we now have to retreat. So, human advantage, 3 points of damage. So he's going to take 1 point of damage, flipping him. 2 points of damage, which is possibly going to send him to the hospital. We will roll for that in just a second. But first things first is these guys will retreat. These guys will turn into fleeing refugees. They will also retreat, going back to that space right there. We are going to add not 1, but 2 chaos tokens to the space. These zombies are going to move into the space right there. And now let's see if we can make the survival roll. Actually, he took 3 points damage. I believe he has toughness, doesn't he? Doesn't he have toughness? Right? You have toughness, right? Ooh, actually he has martial arts. I forgot about his martial arts ability. Let us back that all up because I forgot he has the martial arts ability, which means I can re-roll that horrible 3 I just rolled. Oh boy, thank goodness for very powerful, cool abilities. Let's see if we can do something even better. I forgot about his martial arts. Just so you know, his martial arts ability says in every hand-to-hand combat, he is allowed 1 re-roll, and that result is final. So let's see if we roll anything but a 3. Anything but a 3. We're still at the +1 column. We get an 8 on the +1 column. So human advantage is going to be an 8. We are going to do 3 and 1. So we are going to take 1 point of damage, and they're going to take 3. So I'll do 1 point of damage, 2 points of damage, and 3 points of damage to those zombies. I think that's a good mix-up right there. And we're going to take 1 point of damage, but do we have the toughness ability? Yes, we do. We're taking 1 point of damage. If I roll a 4, 5, or 6, the hit is going to be canceled. Yes, no damage. Way to go, team. That is so awesome. Oh, and he also gives 1 shift in hand-to-hand combat because he's an Eagle Scout. Does that mean I did 4 points of damage? So we're at the ×2. I rolled. Actually, we would have took no damage anyway, so that's even better. And actually, now that I'm looking at things, since it actually worked out in my favor, I'm actually going to apply the damage just a little bit differently. I'm actually going to apply 1 more point of damage to this zombie and 1 less point of damage to this zombie, because if they move up, they're still weaker than that 5-strength zombie, and I think that's actually a better decision right there. So we will put that zombie back in the bag, and then we get to finish the movement for this space. So that was the first one to move, so the second zombie is going to move, moving up to form another Zeds mob. Not that big a deal. I'm not too stressed about that one. At least we didn't get a lot of chaos, so I'm happy about that. So now we get to move over to the suburbs track. So this Zeds mob is going to advance on these people. They're going to stop being defiant, realizing that the zombie apocalypse truly is a real thing, and maybe they shouldn't hang around in unpopulated, undefended areas. The infection rate is going to go dangerously up to a number 8, and things are just not looking good on that aspect. So we have a 3 plus a 4 is a 7 versus a 2, which is going to be a 3 times shift, not in our favor. So it's Zeds times 3. But we do have 1 column shift because we are defending a village. We see we have 1 column shift right there. So we are rolling on this column right here. We will roll and we will get a 9. This is what happens when we roll on the board. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So we will get a 9, which means that the zombies will take 1 point of damage. I will place 1 heart on the zombies right there because I heart putting damage on zombies. Haha, bad jokes. And then we will see that we have to lose and we have to take 2 points damage. So take 1 for the heart. The second one will flip us. We will have to retreat and run to the next section. And now we get to add 2 chaos markers to the space due to that event card that we have going right now, which says Utter Chaos, which is living up to its name. Luckily, we didn't lose any units there because I don't need any more infection. So that's it for the suburbs track. Now we get to go to the forest track. So this zombie is going to advance. 1 more on the infection track that is getting dangerously, dangerously high. We have the advantage here because we have a 5 strength versus a 4 strength, so we get a human advantage. We get 2 more shifts for the barricade, so we get to roll on the final column. Let's see what we will get. Yeah, that's just about as lame as you can do. Well, the good news is we don't retreat. They retreat. So we are going to take 1 point of damage. Second point of damage will flip us. They will take 2 points of damage, and they will retreat. Do they have the ability to reroll or anything special like that? Please say they do. Shift into right hand encounter. Long range gunfire attacks. Nope. 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 That was absolutely just abysmal. I mean, really, I could have rolled. As long as I rolled a 7 or better, I would have been fine, but I couldn't do that. Got snake eyes. I put up the infection track. We are good on that aspect. That's it for this card, except for the fact that now we get to get 3 actions. And I better make these actions good because things are looking absolutely beyond atrociously bad for us right now. I need to shoot. I cannot do any hand-to-hand because if I do any hand-to-hand, we are probably going to send that infection rate over, and I'm not going to be that dumb. So let's see if we can roll some good attacks. So he is going to shoot at this zombie mob over here with this initiative. Is he going to use up an ammo? He is not going to use up an ammo because she's still in town space. We still get her special ability. I can get rid of this card since nothing else is going to happen with it. And now let's see if we can roll some damage. We rolled a 10. We look on the 4 column for a 10. That is going to be 3 points of damage. 1, 2, 3. We'll flip this one over to a 2. I think that is actually worthwhile, and I don't think we need to sweat things on that one too much right now. But for some reason, I'm thinking I should really take them out. On a farm. Do I have Pickles do his thing? If I get doubles, all I need is doubles for Pickles to do his thing, and then I have the supplies I need. Or I can just have Rusty do his thing, which guarantees I'm going to get 2 supplies. So Rusty's going to do his thing. He's going to spend 1 action. Rolling 1 die. I'm still going to get 1 supply out of it, so it's not too terrible. Oh, boy. I need to get rid of this. Rusty does not have long range. I could move Rusty with his 4 to here for 1 action, and then I can do some shooting. I think that's what I'm going to do with Rusty. So Rusty is going to spend 1 action, and we are going to move to here. I know this is probably not a good decision at all. I know it's not a good decision. I'm going to do it anyway. So he's going to shoot. His first shot he gets every round since he uses arrows does not use up an ammo at all. We are going to shoot here towards these guys. And I'm going to roll a 9. A 9 on the 4 column is going to be 2 points of damage. So that'd be 2 points to these guys right there. I need to flip those zombies over very, very quickly. And then our second action is going to be to shoot again. Now I got to roll to see if we're going to use up the ammo. We are going to use the ammo on this one. Rolling, I'll get an 11 on the 4 column, which is going to be 3 points of damage. So we'll do 1 point of damage to flip this one over. And then we will do 3 points of damage like that. So, gosh, this just looks so darn abysmal right now. Things are definitely not looking in our favor. Things are looking very tough, but hey, that's part of the fun of the game. And we still have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards to go through. We have survived 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have survived 8 of 21 cards. We're not even at the halfway mark here, everybody. And you see just how tough things are looking. So let's go ahead and refresh. We're going to go ahead and do 1 more round. I think you have a really good idea of just how brutal this game can be, and also a really good idea of how the game plays. So let's go ahead and do the next, and for this playthrough, final round of the game. All right, on. A hero arrives. So at the beginning of this phase, place a new random available hero in either town center or any start space. That is kind of nice. So we have a 4R phase with 2 actions on this turn. I think The Rangers just need to give it up. So the Rangers are going to retreat. These refugees are going to move one space back right there. And that'll be it for our phase. Nope, we have one more refugees. They are also going to retreat to that space since we have 2 refugees. Now we need to roll for the infection. We need to roll versus a 9. That's not going to do it. So 6, this is going to go down to a 3. Let's have our fate draw. So where with the most Z units? Of course. So 2 Zeds, 1 Z, 2 Zeds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zeds units. So it's going to spawn right here on this chaos space right here. Oh boy. Brutality. And we will have a 12-string Z mob right there. And it says place a new Zeds unit in the campground space. Apply the stacking limit if necessary. Oh, so now my Rangers can't even escape because the campground is going to be infected. Hey, that's even better. Life is just wonderful. So that is it for that infection phase. Now we get to go to eat. I can possibly have to pay food. I'm not going to have to pay food. So now the Zeds get to activate. So the first thing that's going to happen is the force phase, or the force location. So from the campground to right here, pressure just built really, really quickly for our heroes. Not in a good way. These zombies are going to move up, so it's a good thing I pulled my Rangers back there. And then we get to move to suburb space. So suburb space, we are going to advance right here. So we have a 7 versus a 1. This is going to be painful. We get 1 column shift at least, so we're not at least in the worst case. So we got a 10 on the second to last column. That means 2 and 2, but we will actually push them back. So they will go back and they will take 1, 2 points of damage. We get 1 to the infection for the hand-to-hand, and then we will take 2 points of damage. So the first point of damage and the second point of damage will defeat them. Let's see if they are going to survive. They will survive to the hospital, which add 1 more to the infection level. And that's that. I don't think I forgot anything there. Now we get to go to the highway space. Now this is just going to be so damn brutal. Okay. Highway space. First thing that's going to happen is these zombies right here are going to advance on poor Rusty Staub right here. So we have an 8 versus a 4. So we pull out our handy dandy trusty combat tracker. And we see that they are doubling us. Now we don't get any terrain shifts on this location at all. So they are doubling us. Do we have any martial arts on this guy? I don't think we do. We have the crossbow, we have the lucky, and we have rugged. So if he was wounded, he might be doing better, but he's not. So it's 8 versus 4, so they double us. So we're going to roll on the 2 times Z column to see what's going to happen to Rusty Stops. We roll 11. That's pretty damn good. So that's 2 points of damage for both, but they are forced to retreat. So we will send both of these zombies back, and then we will add 2 more points of damage like that, which is going to prevent the rest of the track from advancing. I think that's the smarter decision to do right now. Then Rusty is going to take 2 points of damage unless he can make a survivor roll, which I do believe is a 5 or a 6. So we do not make any of a survivor roll, so he's going to take 2 points of damage. And I'm not sure if I'm moving the infection track up for the hand-to-hand combat. If I did, oh well. Then he needs to go to the hospital, possibly. We will survive. And we will get 1 more on the infection track. And I forgot to put out the EKG markers on these guys right there. So everybody is now in the hospital. This guy cannot advance because he'll hit here. This guy can't advance because he will hit there. This guy can't advance, though, and that will leave that just like that. Well, now to the action phase. So we have 2 actions, and it says at the beginning of this phase, place a new random available hero unit in either town center or any start space. So let's see which random one we're going to get. So this is going to be random, and I'm not going to empty out the bag, so let's just do this underneath the table really, really quick and see who we are going to get. Please let it be the Colonel. Let it be the Colonel. I need it to be the Colonel. Oh. Ask and ye shall receive. Okay, it's the Colonel. So we are going to add the colonel into the game. So I'm going to put him in town center because that is a smart thing to do. Now he has the ability of defensive perimeter, which means he forces Zeds to back off. He can do hunker down. He's got strong point. He's got minefield, and he's also got military bonuses. So he is really, really darn good. I actually might stand a chance to be able to survive maybe halfway through this game. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with all of our actions that we have available. Boy. So, Savior Corpse, or Savior Corps, not Corpse because they're not dead yet, are going to use their first aid station, which I don't think uses up an action, right? Yeah, doesn't use an action, just uses a supply. So we'll spend a supply, we'll remove the EKG marker from good old Rusty. And since that's a heal, that means that is going to go down 1 point. You are going to use your initiative marker and you are going to shoot. Is this going to cost an ammo? Yes, it's going to cost an ammo. You are going to shoot. You are going to roll absolutely horribly. That's going to be 5 on the 4 column, which is going to be 1 point of damage. Not that great. Okay. Let's see. 2 there. I need to gain control of this track very, very quickly. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 action and he is going to move right there. And then I think I'm going to start shooting. His gunfire attacks receive 2 column shifts. He's a 3 strength. So let's see if we are going to use the ammo. We are going to use the ammo. We will spend the action to shoot and we're going to shoot right here. We will be at a 5 strength for a shot action. So we're going to roll an 8. Looking at the 5, we see that's going to be 3 points of damage, which should flip that zombie over to that side right there. So that'll help us just a little bit. And I think I need to lay out a landmine. See, I have 1 action left. I don't have the supplies to build the strong point. If I had the supplies to build the strong point, I might build the strong point right there, which would probably be a really good decision. And then I can move them there and hold that perimeter with a strong point of 3 shifts, and 3 shifts could be really darn amazing. That would allow me to hold this highway at least for a long time, especially with the minefield. So, I'm not going to do another round beyond this, but what I would probably do at this point in an effort to at least stand a good chance of winning this game is I would find a way to get the supplies and get Colonel Kingman over here to this location, and then I would build up the super barricade, which is going to be right here, which gives us 3 column shifts. Once he is there, I would also lay out the minefield, which would be right here, and then I would defend that spot with this unit right here, which would allow us to have a very strong defensive, which would also take out some of the zombies as they approach, which may clear out this track. Then the other thing I need to worry about doing is getting rid of these zombies, which are quickly encroaching right here. This one zombie, if it makes it to the town, that means I am instantly going to lose. So the other thing I may want to do is I may want to send her right here to make sure she starts shooting to take these zombies out. So, looking at the future, what I want to do in future rounds of the game in an effort to win the game, or at least have a fighting chance, I basically want to make sure I protect this point, and I want to get rid of these zombies. If I can do that, and if I can survive the rest of this event deck, there's a good chance I might actually win this game, but things are looking tough and very dark and very, very tragic for our heroes of Farmdale. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy this video series. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave them down in the YouTube comments down below. I'll be sure to get to them as quickly as I can. You can also feel free to email me at offtheshelfboardgamereviews. That's otsbgr@gmail.com. I'll be sure to answer your email as quickly as I can. If you enjoy this channel and you want to help support the channel, think about supporting the channel over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/otsbgr. This channel is 100% sponsor free, so all the costs come out of my pocket. So your support can help keep the lights on. Also, think about sharing this channel with other people, letting other people know about the channel and letting them know that they can subscribe.